Hello everyone, Swati and Vinayak from the Jam Club. Today we are going to review an iconic bourbon and one of the best bourbons available in India, Elijah Craig. Named after the man who founded the distillery, Elijah Craig was a preacher, a distiller and an entrepreneur. Elijah Craig is part of the Heaven Hill Distillery that also owns other iconic brands like Evan Williams, Old Fitzgerald and Larceny. Elijah Craig was the one who pioneered maturation of whiskey in charred oak barrels, and by many, he's considered one of the fathers of bourbon.
Elijah Craig Small Batch was first released in 1986. It was released after the distillery decided to discontinue Elijah Craig 12-year-old, which had unprecedented popularity and the demand that the distillery could not meet. So Elijah Craig Small Batch is matured in level 3 charred virgin American oak casks, and the bourbon in this is 8 to 12 years old.
Elijah Craig pioneered maturation of bourbons in charred virgin oak barrels, and this was first done in 1789, which is what is mentioned on the bottle, 1789. So charring is nothing but setting barrels on fire from the inside, which results in release of flavors and aromas that eventually gets passed on to the spirit. There are 4 different levels of charring, which depends on how long the barrel is exposed to the flame. Level 1 char is 15 seconds of burn, Level 2 char is 30 seconds of burn, Level 3 char, which is used by the Elijah Craig Small Batch, is for 35 seconds, and Level 4 char, which is also known as the alligator char, is for 55 seconds.
So Vinayak, should we now get to tasting the whiskey?
Of course. Off you go, Swati.
Thank you so much.
Oh, look at the color. It's so rich and inviting.
It's very deep, like copper, brownish copper.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot going in.
yeah. It's a very complex bourbon.
Yeah, I think I get a lot of honey, but there's also spiciness that I'm getting, and it's not the sweet spices. It's more like a cardamom kind of a spicing. It's not sweet, but it's still very evident. And there is a hint of smoke that you're getting, which is one of the signature notes of Elijah Craig, because it uses level 3 charring.
Yeah. I think I am getting a lot of vanilla.
Okay.
There is brown sugar coming from me. There's some oak, some chocolate as well, but not a dark chocolate, but like a milkish sort of chocolate on it that I'm getting.
Okay.
I'm gonna add some water to it and see how it changes. And I think now with a couple of drops of water, I get a lot more desserty notes out of it.
Okay.
Like the chocolate has become very prominent for me.
Yeah.
It's almost like a bit of a banoffee pie sort of a thing that I'm getting.
Okay. I'm not getting chocolate as much, but yeah, there is some one note apart from honey, which is on the sweeter side, that I'm not really able to pinpoint at the moment. But
Toffee.
Something like toffee, yeah. Something like a toffee.
But for a 47% ABV, the nose doesn't give you that alcohol burn that you can expect like with something that high ABV.
Yeah, I think I'm going to sip it first and then add a bit of water.
Oh, it's so plush, sweet and spicy.
Yeah. But actually, what's interesting is the mouthfeel. It's very, very rich, very creamy on the palate. I think it definitely needs some water.
Lots of caramel, brown sugar, a hint of coffee. I'm getting oak, cinnamon.
Yeah.
I think cinnamon sort of becomes very prominent in terms of the spice that I'm getting on this one.
I think with water, even the nose is opening up for me. You get a lot more on the nose as compared to what you would get without water. There's definitely honey, caramel, There's some amount of citrus. It's not like a citrus fruit. It's like an orange zest.
It's the texture, I'm loving the texture of this one. And I think again, I'm pleasantly surprised that 47% ABV, it is so smooth.
Yeah.
It's I think it tells you a lot about how complex and well-rounded this whiskey is.
Yeah. So I think, like you said, well-rounded. I think while it is so complex and it is so packed with flavor, but it's also very well-rounded. Like there's no sharpness or harshness about this whiskey.
There's a lot of harmony in flavors that you get on this one.
Yeah.
What do you get on the finish?
I think I get a lot of spices, of course, but I do get those coffee, chocolate notes, something like a mocha.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's I think it's got vanilla also. It lingers on the finish.
The finish for me is a bit on the sweet side.
Okay.
I get a bit of spice, cinnamon and oak is what I'm getting, and I'm also getting a bit of a peppermint sort of a thing.
Okay.
Like it has a nice lingering flavor that sort of stays along with the sweetness. So I think for me that's the finish. So Swati, what is a pairing suggestion for this?
Because it has very distinct notes of coffee and chocolate, I would love to pair this with a tiramisu.
Okay.
This has got a creamy texture, it has got coffee and chocolate, so I think it will go really well with the tiramisu.
For me, this is a very cigar whiskey.
Okay.
And I would sort of pair it with a Bolivar. I think this will Bolivar is slightly more flavorful, robust cigar, and I think this will stand up to it. And if I have to talk about food, maybe I'm being biased and my senses are getting affected by the fact that we are trying bourbon, which is an American whiskey. I'll go with like steak or some grilled meat platter, or if you're talking about Indian food, I will do something with mutton, like a mutton kebab, shami, or seekh.
Like a seekh kebab. Interesting. Yeah. I think that would be a good pairing to try.
Yeah.
So Vinayak, on a scale of 1 to 10, where does Elijah Craig small batch stand for you?
Oh, 8.
Okay.
8 for sure. It's I think for me, right now, it's the best bourbon in India.
So I would rate it an 8.5. I think for 2-3 reasons. It's very well rounded.
Okay.
And even with the balance, it's extremely complex. There's a lot going on in the palate. I think it would make for a wonderful nightcap with the dessert. So I think it's 8.5 for me.
So that was our review of Elijah Craig small batch. Do let us know if you have tried this whiskey before and what you think about the whiskey. Until then, stay safe. Cheers.